You've been holding them for 20 minutes. They're completely out. Deep sleep, heavy, not moving. You stand up slowly. You walk to the crib. You lower them down centimeter by centimeter, barely breathing. You get their back to the mattress. You start to lift your arms away. And the eyes open. Sometimes there's a pause, just long enough for you to think you made it. And then the crying starts. This happens so reliably to so many parents that it feels like a conspiracy. Some people call it the transfer curse. Some parents have looked up whether there's a way to turn off their baby's motion detector. There isn't a motion detector, but there is something real happening. And it isn't your baby being difficult, spoiled, or manipulative. The reason your baby wakes the second you put them down is one of the most ancient and well-designed survival mechanisms in the mammalian brain. And understanding it changes how you feel about the whole exhausting ritual. The alarm that has kept babies alive for hundreds of thousands of years. Your baby's brain is not a blank slate. It comes preloaded with certain programs, biological defaults that don't know you live in a house with heating and a crib and a video monitor. One of those programs is this. Being warm, held, and moving means safety. Being cold, alone, and still means danger. For most of human history, a baby who was put down was a baby who had been separated from their caregiver. And a baby separated from their caregiver in a natural environment was a baby at risk. From cold, from predators, from starvation. So the brain evolved a very clear alarm. If warmth and motion and the smell and heartbeat of a caregiver disappear, wake up and signal distress immediately. It was a survival mechanism. It worked. Your crib is not dangerous, your baby is safe. But their brain doesn't know that yet. It knows. Warm and held equals safe. Flat mattress and alone equals alert. Every time your baby wakes up when you put them down, they're not being inconvenient. They're running a very old piece of software that kept babies alive for tens of thousands of years before cribs existed. 2. Why the transition itself is the problem, not the crib. Many parents assume the issue is the crib. So they try different mattresses, different swaddles, different white noise, different temperatures. Those things can help, but they often don't solve the core issue. The transition is what triggers the alarm, not the destination. Here's what's happening during the transfer. When you're holding your baby, their sensory experience is warmth from your body, rhythmic movement if you're rocking or swaying, your heartbeat, your smell, your breathing, the pressure of your arms. They have registered all of these as a package. Safe, held, all systems go. When you begin to lower them, several things happen at once. Your heartbeat moves away. The rhythmic motion stops. Temperature decreases slightly as your body heat is no longer in contact. The pressure and angle of their body changes, and they move from a slightly inclined position, the way people naturally hold babies, to flat on their back. Some babies can sleep through this transition once they're deeply enough in sleep. Many cannot. And the shallower the sleep stage they're in when you attempt it, the more likely the transition will wake them. 3. The role of sleep cycles and why timing the transfer matters. Your baby cycles through sleep stages roughly every 45 to 50 minutes. Within each cycle, there are periods of lighter sleep and periods of deeper sleep. Most babies are much easier to transfer during the deep sleep phase. The problem is that many parents try to put the baby down too early, sometimes the moment they look asleep, when they're actually still in light sleep. Light sleep in babies looks like still, with occasional twitches or small movements, eyelids that flutter slightly, hands that may still clench, breathing that is somewhat irregular, sometimes a slight frown or facial expression. Deep sleep looks like completely limp and heavy, face totally relaxed, breathing slow and very regular, no twitches or movements, often the jaw is slightly open. If you try to transfer during light sleep, you're attempting to move someone who is still partly aware of sensory input. The change gets through. If you wait until the deepest phase, which may be another 5 to 10 minutes after they initially close their eyes, the transfer is more likely to succeed. The practice many parents call the dream feed transfer works on this principle. Wait longer, transfer in deep sleep, move slowly enough that no single sensory change is dramatic. The temperature problem, and how to solve it. One of the most common and most overlooked reasons transfers fail. The crib mattress is cold. You've been holding a baby who has been at body temperature for 20 minutes. Their skin is warm. Their back is warm. They're used to warmth as a baseline. The moment their back hits a room temperature or slightly cold mattress, the change in temperature registers. And a temperature change is a sensory alarm. You don't need a heating pad on the mattress or anything dangerous. But warming the sleep surface in advance can make a surprising difference. Leave a warm, not hot, water bottle or a heating pad set to low on the mattress for a few minutes before you transfer. Remove it completely before putting the baby down. You want a surface that is slightly warmer than room temperature, not a continuous heat source. Some parents also press their own forearm to the mattress for a minute before the transfer to leave their body heat on the surface. Small techniques. But for a nervous system that is highly attuned to temperature changes, small differences matter. 5. The arms off problem. Why your hands are the last thing to leave. Even when the body is down and settled, the final moment of the transfer, lifting your hands away, is often the trigger. This is because babies don't just feel the mattress. They feel the pressure and weight of your hands on their body. That pressure has been part of the held and safe signal throughout the hold. When it leaves, suddenly and completely, it's another change the system reads as, the safety is withdrawing. Instead of lifting your hands away cleanly and quickly, try this. Keep one hand lightly on their chest or back for a moment after you've laid them down. Stay still. Let them settle further with you still physically present, just in a new configuration. Then, very slowly, reduce the pressure rather than removing the contact all at once. Let the hand become lighter, then barely touching, then hovering close, then finally away. The goal is a gradual sensory fade rather than a sudden withdrawal. It takes patience. It takes a few extra minutes. But for many babies, the difference between waking and staying asleep is those 2 or 3 minutes of gradual handoff. 6. Why some babies are much more sensitive to this than others, and what that means. Not all babies wake up every single transfer. Some can be moved from arms to crib with relatively little fuss. This variation isn't about parenting technique. It's largely about temperament and nervous system sensitivity. Some babies come into the world with more sensitive, more reactive nervous systems. They pick up on smaller changes. They wake more easily from lighter touch, temperature variation, or positional change. These are often the babies described as high needs or spirited, terms that describe real neurological differences, not parental failures. These babies are not broken. They're often deeply perceptive children, but they require more patience, more gradual transitions, and more time for adjustments that other babies make automatically. If your baby is very sensitive to transfers, that sensitivity is probably showing up in other areas too. They may startle more easily, need more time to adjust to new people or environments, and respond more strongly to sensory changes in general. This is useful information. It helps you understand their needs more accurately and respond in ways that actually work. 7. What to do when you can't put them down, and what to let go of. Sometimes, despite everything, your baby will wake up every single time you try to transfer them, and you are exhausted, and your arms hurt, and you need to put them down. A few things that help. The side-to-back move. Instead of lowering them back first all at once, lower them onto their side first, still facing you. Then gently roll them to their back after they've settled on the surface. The side position is closer to how they were held, and the transition is less abrupt. The sound anchor. Keep your voice going at the same low, steady volume and rhythm throughout the transfer. Babies who track your voice as a safety cue can sometimes stay settled through a transfer if the voice is continuous, the one familiar sensory input that doesn't disappear. Wearing them. If a specific transfer attempt keeps failing, wearing your baby in a carrier and doing what you need to do is not giving up. It's working with the biology instead of against it. Many parents find that time in a carrier during the day actually improves independent sleep over time, because the baby's nervous system gets enough co-regulation during waking hours to need less at night. And finally, what to let go of. The belief that a baby who won't go down alone is a problem you created. You didn't create a baby who needs to be held. You have a baby whose nervous system is working exactly as designed, in a world that hasn't quite caught up to what that design requires. This season is finite. The baby who clings to your arms tonight will, in a year, be an impossibly mobile person who barely slows down to be held. Put them down when you can. Hold them when you can't. Both are fine. Both are temporary, and both are the right answer. Subscribe for more on understanding why your baby does what they do, and why almost all of it makes complete sense once you know where it comes from.